The Empire's fatal confidence Emperor Zolthan stood before the massive observation window of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching distant stars bend and twist as his fleet traveled through hyperspace. His crimson eyes reflected the cold light of 1,000 suns, each one representing a world that bowed before the might of the Crexan Empire. For 3 centuries, his people had ruled over 2 entire galactic arms, bringing order to chaos and civilization to primitive worlds. Today, they would add another insignificant planet to their collection. The throne room doors hissed open, and Admiral Vex Korvac approached with measured steps. His battle-scarred face bore the marks of countless campaigns, and his chest displayed medals from 50 conquered worlds. Behind him walked Commander Lyra Thane, the Empire's most skilled intelligence analyst, her pale blue skin marked with the intricate tattoos that denoted her high rank. "Your Imperial Majesty," Admiral Korvac began, his voice carrying the confidence of absolute victory. "The reconnaissance data from Earth has been fully analyzed. The target presents no significant challenges to our forces." Emperor Zolthan turned from the window, his towering frame casting shadows across the polished floor. "Tell me about these humans, Admiral. What makes them different from the other primitive species we have encountered?" Commander Thane stepped forward, activating a holographic display that showed Earth spinning slowly in the darkness of space. "The planet harbors approximately 8 billion humans, Your Majesty. They are divided into nearly 200 separate political entities, often in conflict with one another. Their technology is roughly equivalent to what we possessed 4,000 years ago." The hologram shifted to show human cities, their lights twinkling like scattered diamonds across the continents. They have achieved basic spaceflight and have established several small orbital installations. Their most advanced weapons are fusion-based, and their largest spacecraft are barely the size of our shuttlecraft. Admiral Korvac gestured to tactical displays showing Earth's defensive capabilities. Their military forces are fragmented and lack unified command. They possess chemical propulsion rockets, primitive energy weapons, and basic nuclear capabilities. According to our projections, complete planetary subjugation should be achieved within 72 hours of our arrival. Emperor Zolthan smiled, revealing teeth that gleamed like polished bone. "Excellent, and their resources?" "Abundant, Your Majesty," Commander Thane replied with enthusiasm. "Rich deposits of rare minerals, vast oceans of fresh water, and diverse biological specimens. The profit margins from this conquest will fund our expansion into the Andromeda spiral arm." The Emperor moved to his command throne, its crystalline surface responding to his touch with waves of light. "How many ships are we deploying for this operation?" 15,000 vessels, Your Majesty," Admiral Korvac announced proudly. "The largest single fleet ever assembled for a primitive world conquest. We have battle cruisers, planet crackers, and enough firepower to reduce entire continents to molten slag. The humans will witness our arrival and surrender immediately." The Emperor leaned back in his throne, already envisioning the wealth and territory this easy victory would bring. "Inform the fleet commanders to prepare for standard conquest protocol. Demonstrate overwhelming force, demand unconditional surrender, and begin resource extraction operations immediately upon capitulation." As the meeting concluded and his officers departed, Emperor Zolthan felt the familiar satisfaction of another inevitable victory. The Crexan Empire had never met a species that could stand against their military might for more than a few days. These humans would be no different from all the others who had learned to kneel before superior beings. Deep within the ship's intelligence center, Commander Thane studied the data streams from Earth with growing fascination. The humans were indeed primitive by Crexan standards, but something about their behavior patterns intrigued her. Unlike most species approaching contact with spacefaring civilizations, the humans showed no signs of unified preparation or panic. Instead, they continued their normal activities as if unaware of the approaching storm. Lieutenant Zax Meridian, her chief analyst, approached with a datapad displaying intercepted human communications. "Commander, we've been monitoring their broadcast transmissions. The humans appear to be discussing something they call contingency protocols, but the context is unclear." Thane frowned, studying the translated communications. "What do you make?" Of their military coordination? It's strange, Commander. While their governments appear divided, their military and scientific communities seem to be following some kind of unified plan. We've detected increased activity at their space installations and unusual energy signatures from their research facilities. Before Thane could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Emergency lights bathed the intelligence center in pulsing red as her communication panel erupted with incoming signals. She quickly activated the display, expecting routine status updates from the fleet. What she saw instead made her blood freeze. A transmission was being received from deep space, its origin point far beyond Earth's solar system. The signal was encrypted using patterns that predated the Crexan Empire itself, suggesting technology that should no longer exist in the galaxy. The message was broadcasting on frequencies that had been dead for centuries. "Get Admiral Korvac," Thane ordered, her voice tight with sudden concern. "Tell him we have a priority communication that requires immediate attention." As Lieutenant Meridian rushed to comply, Thane began the complex process of decrypting the ancient signal. The encryption keys were stored in the Empire's most classified archives, relics from civilizations that had vanished long before most current species had achieved spaceflight. As the message began to decode, she felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's environmental systems. The first decrypted segment contained star charts showing Earth's solar system, but marked with warning symbols in a dozen different extinct languages. The next section showed fleet movements and battle formations, all focused on the same small blue world that the Crexan Empire was now approaching. Admiral Korvac arrived within minutes, his face grim as he studied the decoded transmission. "Commander, what exactly are we looking at?" "Sir, this appears to be a warning message from the Zalarian Confederation. They were destroyed nearly 200 years ago, but somehow this signal has been broadcasting ever since their fall." The Admiral's expression darkened. The Zalarian Confederation had been one of the most powerful military forces in galactic history, controlling thousands of worlds across multiple star systems. Their sudden disappearance had been one of the great mysteries of the age, leaving behind empty worlds and silent space stations with no explanation for their fate. "What does the message say?" Korvac demanded. Thane activated the main display, and the bridge fell silent as an alien voice began speaking in the ancient Zalarian tongue. The universal translator processed the words, but the meaning that emerged sent shockwaves through everyone present. "To any who received this transmission," the voice began, crackling with the distortion of centuries in space, "we are the survivors of the Zalarian Third Expeditionary Force. We came to the world called Earth expecting easy conquest of a primitive species. We were catastrophically wrong." The message continued, describing impossible battles and defeats that defied all military logic. As the recording played, Admiral Korvac felt something he had not experienced in decades of warfare. Genuine fear. The chilling revelation. The voice from the ancient transmission continued, and Commander Thane felt her confidence crumbling with each translated word. The speaker identified himself as Fleet Commander Tor Zalak of the Zalarian Confederation, and his account of what had happened at Earth 2 centuries ago sent chills through the assembled Crexan officers. "We arrived at Earth with 8,000 ships, the largest fleet our civilization had ever assembled." The dead commander's voice echoed through the bridge. "Our intelligence indicated a primitive species with basic nuclear technology and fragmented political structures. We expected complete surrender within days, just as we had achieved on hundreds of other worlds." Emperor Zaltan materialized as a hologram on the bridge, summoned by Admiral Korvac's urgent communication. His crimson eyes blazed with impatience as he studied the transmission data. "What is the meaning of this interruption, Admiral? We are hours away from Earth, and I expect to receive surrender terms, not ancient ghost stories." Before Korvac could respond, Commander Tor Zalak's message continued with details that made the blood of every officer run cold. The humans did not surrender. Instead, they did something we had never encountered in 3,000 years of conquest. They learned. The holographic display showed tactical readouts from battles that should have been impossible. Primitive human vessels engaging advanced Zalarian warships and not only surviving, but adapting their strategies in real time. The data showed human fighters modifying their weapons mid-battle, human engineers reverse engineering captured alien technology within hours, and human commanders developing counter-tactics faster than Zalarian computers could analyze. At first, we dismissed their resistance as desperation. The ancient message continued. A few lucky victories against our scout forces, but as the conflict escalated, we began to understand that we were not fighting a primitive species. We were fighting evolution itself. Commander Thane enhanced the tactical displays, showing battle formations that defied conventional military doctrine. Your Majesty, according to these records, the humans didn't just defend their world. They turned every Zalarian weapon, every piece of technology, every tactical advantage against its creators. The message revealed how human scientists had dissected captured Zalarian equipment and not only understood its function, but improved upon its design. Human factories had begun producing hybrid weapons that combined alien technology with human innovation, creating armaments more effective than the originals. Their adaptation rate was beyond anything we had ever documented. Commander Zelak's voice grew more desperate. Every weapon we deployed, they countered within days. Every tactic we employed, they not only defended against but turned back upon us with modifications we had never conceived. Emperor Zaltan's expression shifted from impatience to concern as the scope of the Zalarian defeat became clear. The records showed a systematic reversal of what should have been an easy conquest, with human forces growing stronger with each engagement, while Zalarian capabilities diminished. Admiral Korvac studied the stellar charts that accompanied the message, showing the progressive retreat of Zalarian forces from Earth's solar system to the Outer Rim territories. Commander Thane, are you telling me that the humans actually pursued the Zalarian fleet across interstellar space? Yes, sir. According to these records, within 6 months of the initial invasion, human forces were launching offensive operations against Zalarian strongholds throughout the sector. They had not only mastered captured technology but had begun developing improvements that surpassed Zalarian engineering. The final portion of Commander Zelak's message contained the most chilling revelation of all. We underestimated not their technology, but their nature. Humans do not simply fight to survive. They fight to become whatever they need to become to win. They are not just another species. They are adaptation incarnate. The transmission described how human forces had eventually tracked down and eliminated every Zalarian installation within 50 light-years of Earth. The once mighty Confederation had been reduced to scattered survivors hiding in the deepest reaches of space, their civilization broken by a species they had dismissed as primitive. The warning is clear, Zelak's voice concluded. Do not make our mistake. Do not assume that technological superiority guarantees victory against humans. They will learn from every defeat, adapt to every challenge, and become stronger than whatever force opposes them. Stay away from Earth. Stay far away. The bridge fell silent as the ancient transmission ended, leaving the Krexan officers to contemplate the implications of what they had just heard. Emperor Zaltan's hologram flickered as he processed the information, his expression cycling through disbelief, anger, and calculation. Admiral, the Emperor said finally, his voice carrying deadly calm, what is your assessment of this warning? Admiral Korvac hesitated, weighing his response carefully. Your Majesty, the Zalarian Confederation was indeed one of the most powerful military forces in galactic history. If these records are accurate, it suggests that the humans may possess capabilities that our initial reconnaissance failed to detect. Commander Thane stepped forward, her analysis complete. Your Majesty, I've cross-referenced the transmission data with our historical archives. The Zalarian technology described in these battles was significantly more advanced than what the Krexan Empire currently possesses. If humans could defeat them 2 centuries ago, their capabilities now may be far beyond our initial estimates. The Emperor's eyes blazed with fury and calculation. 300 years of unbroken conquest had made the Krexan Empire the undisputed master of their region of space. The idea that some primitive world could threaten that dominance was almost incomprehensible, yet the evidence was undeniable. Sir, Lieutenant Meridian called out from his sensor station, his voice trembling with urgency. We're receiving new transmission from Earth. It's It's addressing us directly. A new voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfect Krexan without the need for translation. The accent was unmistakably human, but the fluency was impossible for a species that had supposedly never encountered their language. Greetings, Emperor Zolthan of the Krexan Empire. This is Captain Rex Dorian of the Earth Defense Coordination. We know you've received Commander Zilek's warning by now. We've been broadcasting his message for 200 years, hoping that other civilizations would learn from the Zilarian mistake. The humans' words sent shockwaves through the assembled officers. How could these primitives know their emperor's name? How could they speak fluent Krexan? How had they known about the ancient transmission? Captain Dorian's voice continued with calm confidence. You have 15,000 ships approaching our solar system. The Zilarians brought 8,000. We've had 2 centuries to prepare since then. We know you consider us primitive, and we understand why you would think that. We've learned that appearances can be deceptive. Emperor Zolthan's face contorted with rage and something approaching fear. Admiral, what is our tactical status? Sir, we're 12 hours from Earth's outer system. All ships report ready for combat operations, but... Korvac paused, studying sensor readings that made no sense. Sir, I'm detecting energy signatures from Earth that don't match our intelligence reports. The power levels are impossible for their supposed technology level. The human transmission continued, and Captain Dorian's tone grew more serious. Emperor Zolthan, you have a choice to make. You can turn your fleet around and leave our space, and we'll consider this an unfortunate misunderstanding. Or you can proceed with your invasion plans and discover what we've learned from the Zilarians. As if summoned by the humans' words, new contacts began appearing on the Krexan fleet's long-range sensors. Ships were emerging from seemingly empty space around Earth's solar system, their configurations unlike anything in the Empire's databases. The vessels appeared to be hybrid constructions, combining elements of Zilarian design with modifications that defied conventional engineering principles. Admiral, Commander Thane reported, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm counting over 20,000 contacts and more appearing every minute. Their energy signatures suggest weapon systems that exceed our own maximum output ratings. Captain Dorian's final words echoed through the bridge with quiet certainty. The choice is yours, Emperor. But remember, we've had 200 years to prepare for your arrival. 200 years to learn, to adapt, and to become what we need to become. The Zilarians taught us well. As the transmission ended, Emperor Zolthan stared at the tactical displays showing his supposedly invincible fleet, suddenly outnumbered by an enemy that should not have existed. For the first time in 3 centuries of conquest, the Krexan Empire faced the possibility that they were not the predators in this encounter. They were the prey.